My name is Cynthia Gibson, and I am the managing attorney for the Dalton Regional Office of Georgia Legal Services, and I'm also the health law specialist for the program. And I wanted to share with you today why healthcare is important, what the status of it is in Georgia, what we do, and how you could possibly help. So, healthcare is important. In Georgia, the biggest program for our clients is Medicaid. That's the most important benefit program that's available to our clients. And healthcare is a poverty issue. Some people don't think of it as a poverty issue, but I look at it as if you're sick, you can't work. If you can't work, you can't support your family. If your children are sick, you can't work either. And many of our clients, when they get sick, they don't have access to health insurance. They don't have access to paid time off of work. So often what they choose to do is go to work sick because what other option do they have? If you lose money every time you're sick, you're not going to get preventative care. You're not going to get any primary care or any regular treatment for chronic conditions. And what that leads to is people ended up in the emergency room with really serious health conditions and being unable to work. So all of these factors prevent people from getting out of poverty or cause them to fall into poverty when they experience a health crisis. So what is the health picture in Georgia? Well, Georgia has about 10.7 million people as of the most recent census. And of those, 1.4 million are uninsured. And that makes Georgia the third state in the number of uninsured Georgians. So that's not a very good ranking. There's also approximately 200,000 children in Georgia who are uninsured. And Georgia ranks fourth highest in the country for the number of uninsured children. Overall, with all measures of health care, Georgia ranks 43rd out of the 50 states. And even with those poor rankings, Georgia does have over 2 million Georgians insured in Medicaid. So how do you get insurance if you don't qualify for Medicaid? Well, there is private employers. Some of them provide health insurance. But less than 25% of small employers provide health insurance to their workers. 96% of large employers do provide health insurance, but that's required by law. So actually, it should be 100% who provide it. But the average cost of health insurance is also a burden. Even if your employer provides it, if you're a low-income worker, that doesn't mean you can afford to take advantage of that option. The average cost of health insurance for a single individual is over $6,800 a year. And for a family, which is 2 or more people, it's over $19,000 a year. Now, employers subsidize this insurance, but the amount that the employee has to pay has been increasing every year. So now that you know a little bit about the health picture in Georgia, you may be wondering, okay, but why do you need a lawyer? And you need a lawyer because healthcare is complicated. The law is complicated. For example, with Medicaid, there are 33 different classes of assistance. That means there's 33 different categories that you could qualify for Medicaid in. Each of those has different requirements in order to be eligible. Medicaid is governed by federal law, and it's a federal law. It's a multi-volume book of federal regulations that spell out the requirements for the Medicaid program. Because it's governed by federal law, you have due process rights. You have appeal rights. If you're denied or your coverage is terminated, you have the right to notice, you have the right to a hearing, and you have the right to be represented at that hearing. And for children, they have even more rights. Children have the right to early and periodic screening, diagnostic, and treatment. And that's for children under the age of 21. And basically what that means is that Medicaid must cover all medical procedures, testing, all diagnostic testing, all treatment that children need to improve their health or to prevent their health from getting worse. Children should have easy access to specialists and to specialist care if they need it. But Georgia doesn't do very well in that area. We have a very low rate of referrals of children to specialists. And this can include things like mental health, behavioral health, um, of course, vision, dental, orthodontics. Things that are not covered for adults under Medicaid must be covered for children. And the next category that we represent are seniors and disabled people. For those groups of people, they qualify for Medicare, which is not the same as Medicaid, and many people confuse the two programs. But Medicare has Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. So there's another multi-volume set of books, rules, and laws that cover Medicare. And then for seniors, there is also, of course, long-term care, which could be home and community-based services. Georgia offers several waiver programs to help seniors stay in their homes, but they have to get eligible and get those services. And then a nursing home care, which is very expensive. And this Medicaid covers a large portion of all nursing home services in Georgia. So how do you get Medicaid if you think you're eligible? There are basically categorical requirements, so broad categories of people who can get Medicaid. One category is age, blind, and disabled, so that's 65 or older, aged, blind, or disabled. And disabled is as determined by the Social Security Administration using their regulations. Children under 19, and then the other category is sort of a category of other adults who can be eligible. That can include a parent caretaker of a minor child, pregnant women, or women diagnosed with breast or cervical cancer. So the first step is you have to fall into one of those categories. And then there are financial requirements. And those financial requirements vary depending upon the category you're under. There's income requirements and resource requirements. And if you're age blind or disabled, you have to meet the resource requirements. But if you're a child, you don't. So there's different rules for each category. And finally, there are residency and immigration status requirements. You have to be a resident of the state of Georgia. And generally, you have to be a US citizen. There is some what we call aliens, which means people from other countries that are not citizens. If they are lawfully present, certain of them are eligible for Medicaid. Generally, you have to be a legal permanent resident for 5 years before you can receive Medicaid. There are exceptions for emergency services. Georgia also has a pending 1115 waiver. And what that is it's Georgia's version of Medicaid expansion. Under the Affordable Care Act, Georgia has the option to expand Medicaid to all adults whose income is below 138% of the federal poverty level. Georgia has chosen not to do that, but they have submitted a waiver to expansion for adults who earn less than 100% of the federal poverty level. This waiver has not gone into effect yet, but basically it would provide Medicaid to more adults in Georgia who have no health coverage. They would have to have income below 100% of the federal poverty level. Half of them would have to pay premiums. So if their income's less than 50% of the federal poverty level, they wouldn't have premiums. But if it's between 50 and 100, they would. Then they have to meet 80 hours of qualified activities each month. And those activities could be working, going to school, volunteering at approved organizations, and they have to report those hours each month. This waiver has recently had the enactment delayed until next year, so we will see what comes of that. As you can see on the chart that showed the categories of people, right now for an adult with a minor child to get Medicaid, they can only have income up to 38% of the federal poverty level. That's an incredibly low income. So this waiver would help many parents who aren't eligible perhaps become eligible. Now, what does Georgia Legal Services actually do to represent clients with healthcare issues? Some of the things that we handle include screening people to find out if they're eligible for either a class of Medicaid, a program under the Affordable Care Act, or Medicare. You know, Medicare does pretty good extensive outreach and generally gets the people that are initially enrolled, at least for the Part A and Part B Medicare. but not so much with the Part D. Sometimes people don't really understand that that's a separate program they have to sign up for. Medicaid is very complicated and there's no outreach on that. So that's all up to people to learn whether they're eligible. If we find people who are eligible, we help them in applying if they're not able to do it themselves. We also, if they're denied, we will file appeals on their behalf and we will represent clients who are wrongfully denied Medicaid or who have their coverage terminated. Or perhaps there's a child who's trying to get some specialized service and it's being denied. Then we could represent the child in appealing that denial. We help our clients enforce their federal rights under the Medicaid Act. We represent residents of long-term care facilities in Medicaid denials. Sometimes nursing homes wish to discharge patients, and there's specific rules on how and when they can do that, and we represent seniors to avoid that outcome. We also help clients access waiver programs, which are the home and community-based programs that can allow people to stay in their homes and avoid nursing homes. And finally, we have a medical legal partnership in Macon. And with that program, what we do is the hospital refers people to us for patients who the patient or their family member has a legal problem. Maybe there's a landlord-tenant issue. Maybe there's something in the apartment that is contributing to the illness that the patient has. Maybe they don't have food. Maybe they need food stamps. Maybe they're having issues in school, and so they need some help getting their accommodations through the school. There can be many different things that arise under that. Now, next you're going to hear from Robert Bush, who's a senior staff attorney with Georgia Legal Services, and he's also the chair of our Elder Action Team. And he is going to talk to you in more detail about the work that we do for our senior clients.
Hello, my name is Robert Bush, and I am a senior staff attorney with the Georgia Legal Services program in our Savannah office. I chair our Elder Action Team and kind of oversee and guide the work that we do with our senior clients. Every GLSP office serves senior clients, persons who are 60 years of age or older, whether the work is funded by our LSC grant, by our Title III grants, or other diverse grants. Health issues for seniors often come to us in a way that's ancillary to a central legal issue that may upset the stable living situation for the client. We have to bring a holistic mindset to our evaluation of the senior client's case because of the special characteristics of those whom we serve. Seniors are more likely to live on a fixed income without the ability or opportunity to enhance it. They are more likely to be reliant on safety net systems which operate pursuant to a complex web of regulations. And more often than other populations, though not presumably, seniors may present with issues related to undiagnosed diminished capacity. Our attorneys who regularly represent seniors are charged with troubleshooting complicated legal problems, as well as navigating practical and logistical challenges presented by representing persons who, for example, may have difficulty directing their representation, who may have insurmountable transportation or communication issues, and who may lack access or lack of familiarity with the internet. We commonly represent seniors in nursing home discharge situations. The reason for discharge may be a Medicaid-related reason. For example, a nursing home may assert that a resident no longer meets the level of care required for them to receive Medicaid coverage for their residency and care. Or they may attempt to discharge residents that they find difficult to manage. In a recent case, one of our Gainesville attorneys represented an individual with a diagnosis of an affective mental condition with behavioral symptoms, which a nursing home did not want to grapple with. The nursing home discharged the resident, claiming that his needs could not be met by their facility. Our attorney represented the resident in a hearing in which evidence was admitted that the facility had ignored medically prescribed measures to address our client's behavioral issues and had simply discharged him instead. The judge ordered the nursing home to readmit the client. For residents of nursing homes, discharge actions are integrally health issues, as almost all necessary health care provided to the individual is done through or arranged by the nursing home. The reality, of course, is exacerbated by the fact that many residents do not have appropriate places to discharge to and are likely to become homeless if discharged. Sometimes the issue facing the nursing home resident is a complicated knot of law and practical exigencies. Maybe a power of attorney agent or a relative isn't reliably paying the patient liability amount to the nursing home from the resident's income. This failure to pay can terminate the payments made by Medicaid to the nursing home, and it implicates other legal issues related to elder abuse and exploitation. In those circumstances, our attorneys must reach out to service providers such as Adult Protective Services. Maybe they will draft and execute documents to remove abusive agents, or they may undertake other additional legal actions in an effort to reinstate the Medicaid payment, defeat the discharge, and also to protect the client. Many of our discharge cases come from our local state ombudsman through direct referral. Ombudsmen are senior advocates who regularly visit nursing homes to advocate for residents, particularly for those residents who cannot advocate for themselves. It is not unusual for our attorneys to receive a referral of a client who cannot participate in their representation and who have no family or other support systems to assist them. In these and similar cases, the Georgia Bar's rules of professional conduct enable attorneys to take emergency action on behalf of clients who are facing immediate and irreparable harm. Rule 1.14 allows our workers to take action to represent these clients to the extent reasonably necessary to maintain the status quo or to avoid the harm. This is a complicated decisional process for our legal workers, and at GLSP, we provide training to our workers to enable them to confidently navigate the issues of a client's diminished or lost capacity, employing the ABA practical tool and other guides to assist us. We represent seniors on a wide range of legal issues, whether it's Medicaid, food stamps, housing, unemployment, Social Security, or consumer issues, for example. We handle some Medicare issues, such as the failure of providers to comply with billing requirements, which leads to illegal collection actions being filed against our clients. Ancillary income issues directly affect the health of our seniors. More than once, I've had a client sit across from me and tell me how they ration particular medications or they forego filling necessary prescriptions entirely because they cannot afford to eat and to take the prescriptions. An attorney in our Savannah office represented a senior who paid thousands of dollars from her savings for hearing aids that did not address her hearing deficit, even after complying with the directives of the vendor to make multiple trips to its office to adjust the hearing aids. The vendor employed a physician who conducted testing on customers before recommending that the equipment was appropriate to address the cause of their hearing problems. The repeated trips to adjust the hearing aids lasted just about as long as the warranty. Our attorney filed suit, and the client was eventually repaid the monies that she had used to purchase the hearing aids in addition to receiving some additional damages. Again, seniors present to us with a knot of issues that, because of their vulnerabilities, we evaluate in terms of their ultimate real impact on a client's stability and their health. We have accepted a referral from a local safe shelter of a senior who had been put out of her home by an abusive adult son. The client had allowed the son to move into her home, expecting him and his wife to cook for her, take her to medical appointments, and to provide her with other support after she received a diagnosis of early stage dementia. Instead, in less than a year, the son took advantage of his mother's diminished capacity by, in turn, adding his name to the deed to her home, then pressuring her to sign over her remaining interest in the home to him. Then eventually, he evicted his mother from the home. We accepted the case and filed a temporary restraining order, which became an unusually long instance of litigation for a TRO. We were able to get a temporary order removing the son from the house, reinstating the client, although the judge stated reservations about our client's capacity to live on her own, and he scheduled a subsequent hearing in 2 months. The client's daughter provided care and support to the client during the interim period, and in the meantime, our client's mental state improved. We worked with her doctor to get statements showing this improvement, and in the subsequent hearing, the temporary order allowing our client to remain in her home was continued. Eventually, we were able to get our client's home put back in her name and to keep her son away from the premises. In another case, a client's sister called us from Virginia to ask assistance for her sister, who had received a notice of termination of her retirement supplemental security income benefits, or SSI benefits. These benefits are income and asset sensitive, and Social Security had identified disqualifying non-home place property that was listed in the name of the client. This property caused the client to exceed the resource value limit for SSI. The client had no diagnosed intellectual limitation, though she had relied upon her sister for years to assist her with income and other matters that seemed complicated to her. The remedy for this disqualification lay in the applicable federal regulations and required actions involving a realtor as well as the cooperation of the client's siblings who were co-owners of the inheritance property. One wouldn't normally consider these issues related to healthcare, but the reality was that the client was no longer able to see her doctor nor fill her prescriptions because her healthcare coverage, her receipt of Medicaid, was contingent upon her remaining eligible for SSI benefits. Once the apparent property issue was discovered, our client's SSI benefits were terminated and her health care coverage ended as well. In this case, we were able to show that our client's family had actually complied with the requirements of the applicable federal regulations related to SSI and ownership of resources, and we were able to have her benefits reinstated. She was once again able to see her doctor and to fill her prescriptions. We at Georgia Legal Services realize that access to healthcare is a human rights issue. We undertake representation of our senior clients, knowing that they are particularly vulnerable to challenges that can have serious health and life consequences for them. We are aware of the social determinants of health, and we have developed a holistic approach to our representation of seniors, which addresses those seemingly unrelated threats and which actually protects our seniors through legal representation. Now, you'll hear next from my colleague, Francesca Montalero, from our Public Benefits Hotline, who will talk about the hotline, and she will also provide information about how to contact us should one need to seek services from us.
Hi, I'm Francesca Montalaro, and I'm the Benefits Hotline Supervising Paralegal at Georgia Legal Services Program. I became a part of the health law team in 2014 and took over the reins with working on the Benefits Hotline with the ladies who gave birth to the program as being a service that would help clients through Georgia Legal Services Program. The Benefits Hotline is a service that assists those that receive Medicare. And because of the Benefits Hotline being a part of the Georgia Legal Services Program, we have successfully created a space for clients to call for help to work through barriers when they are not successful with contacting the Department of Human Services agency, for example. The Benefits Hotline is a service for those that are disabled, as well as seniors and anyone who's receiving Medicare. Because of the Benefits Hotline being a part of the Georgia Legal Services Program, we have created a space for people to get assistance when they have difficulty contacting the agency to get through barriers that is not necessary for an attorney to resolve. And that's where I come in. I assist anyone who's needing help with contacting the Department of Human Services, getting their documents submitted, helping them renew their benefits, application issues and barriers. And those are things that does not require an attorney service. Georgia Legal Services Program has numerous wonderful, intelligent attorneys to help with the giant legal matters. I can assist within this program to help people that do not need to go to a hearing and they don't need an attorney to help, but they still need assistance. And that's what the Benefits Hotline is. We are a grant-funded program, and we've maintained our continuous position within Georgia Legal Services since, I believe, 2014 successfully by meeting the grant requirements for the program to continue. And because of that, I'm also still here and happily serving clients that need help that do not require an attorney within Georgia Legal Services Program.
Thank you, Robert and Fran, for sharing with us your experiences in representing our clients in health law related matters. Thank you to those of you who have listened and participated today. If you would like to learn more about health law at Georgia Legal Services, please go to our website at www.glsp.org or call at 1-833-GLSP-LAW. Thank you.